Hey ladies, in this lesson we're going to learn about your core. This is your pelvis. Your diaphragm is the top part of your core. The diaphragm needs to move up and down to make the pelvic floor muscles move. Then the pelvic floor muscles will connect with your lower abs, the transversus abdominis, which will then connect back with your multifidus muscle. This is kind of like your family, the core family, but they work hand in hand with your glutes. And your glutes are kind of like your bestie that has another family, but you really need their support to get through life. That's how the core works. The pelvic floor, in order for it to work well and to keep dysfunction away, you need strong glute muscles that work through a full range of motion as well. So it'll be important to strengthen our glutes just as much as it'll be important to strengthen our core. Now, how does it really function? Your diaphragm sits up here above the pelvic floor muscles. During pregnancy, that diaphragm gets shoved up underneath your ribs, and the lack of mobility kind of sits in with the diaphragm and with the pelvic floor. So postpartum, in those early weeks and throughout your fourth trimester, it's important to gain range of motion in your diaphragm and in your pelvic floor. They should move through lengthening and contracting just like any other muscle in the body. The diaphragm, we want it to come down. So we want to practice breathing down into our lower abdomen, into our scar, putting our hand over our crotch. You want to feel that muscle, that the muscles are lengthening when you're doing that. You really want to avoid breathing up into the chest. When the breath is coming down and the pelvic floor muscles are moving through that range of motion, they're lengthening, they're going to contract back up and tighten with those lower abs, that transversus abdominis. So the diaphragm should work with the pelvic floor should work with those lower abs, and then the lower abs are going to come in and turn on the multifidi muscles in the back. When it's functioning well, we don't tend to have pelvic floor dysfunction because everything's working really well in the core. And then again, the glutes, we have to have really strong glutes, supportive glutes, so that everything functions well. If we have decreased strength or range of motion in the glutes, we can tend to see failure into the core. So those two are very important to have together, and those are things that we will focus in on in the upcoming lessons with our strengthening exercises.